Imagine a world where greed and desperation collide with superstition and black magic, a collision that ends not in riches, but in blood. On the night of December 10th, 2025, in the industrial heartland of Chhattisgarh, 3 men made a choice that would seal their fates forever. They were promised the impossible: 5 lakh rupees transformed into 2.5 crore rupees through ancient rituals known only to mystics and sorcerers. They believed. They entered a farmhouse. They never walked out alive. This is the Korba Money Ritual, a haunting true crime case where greed met the occult, where desperation danced with death, and where a ritual meant to multiply wealth became a gateway to the grave. Our story begins not on that fateful December night, but weeks earlier, when whispers of a supernatural solution began circulating through Korba's business circles. Korba, an industrial town in Chhattisgarh, thrives on steel and coal. Men make fortunes here, but fortunes disappear just as quickly. In the twilight hours, in tea shops and back alleys, conversations turn to shortcuts, to quick money, to instant wealth, to deals too good to be true. It was in this environment of financial desperation that a man named Rajendra Kumar emerged like a phantom offering salvation. Rajendra Kumar was no ordinary businessman. He was a self-styled tantric from Bilaspura, man who claimed to possess ancient knowledge, mystical powers dating back centuries. He spoke in riddles, moved with calculated mystery, and most importantly, he offered certainty in an uncertain world. His pitch was simple, yet intoxicating. Bring him 5 lakh rupees, submit to a sacred ritual, and within hours, mere hours, that money would multiply 50-fold into 2.5 crore rupees. 50 times. Imagine it. 500,000 becoming 2.5 crores. Who wouldn't be tempted? Who could resist such an offer when bills pile up, when debts circle like vultures, when the future looks financially bleak? 3 men decided to believe. Mohammed Ashraf Memon, a 45-year-old scrap dealer from Korba, a businessman known in the community, a man with networks and reputation. Suresh Sahu, also 45, from Tulsi Nagar, in Corbin, another struggling entrepreneur, chasing the elusive breakthrough. And Nitish Kumar, 43, from Balota Bazaar, near Durgaman, whose name would be forever etched in tragedy. These weren't naive teenagers or uneducated villagers. These were businessmen, men of the world, who somehow found themselves trapped in a web woven by an ancient art. Tantric rituals promising wealth through supernatural means. The decision was made. December 10th, 2025. The location: Ashraf Memon's farmhouse in Kudri village, sprawling tour property surrounded by walls, hidden from prying eyes. In the darkness of night around 11 p.m., Rajendra Kumar arrived with his associates, a team of ritualists, ready to perform what is known in occult circles as Jatan, or sweeping. This ritual, steeped in tantric tradition and believed to have roots in tribal mysticism, promises to sweep away financial obstacles and invite wealth into a person's life. But it requires specific conditions: isolation, secrecy, absolute faith, and most critically, obedience. What happened inside that farmhouse that night remains partially shrouded in mystery. Here's what police pieced together from eyewitness accounts and evidence. Rajendra Kumar took each man, one by one, into a separate sealed room. The ritual began. He handed each man a lemona, sacred fruit in Hindu and tantric traditions believed to absorb negative energy. He drew a circle on the ground with rope, an ancient protective boundary used in countless occult practices. Then he locked the door. 30 to 60 minutes, he reportedly told the others waiting outside. The ritual requires absolute silence. The door must not be opened. To interrupt is to invite catastrophe. But something went terribly wrong. After an hour, there was silence. Not the reverent silence of spiritual communion, but the deafening silence of absence, a void of death. The door was finally unlocked. What emerged was a scene of pure horror. All 3, Ashraf Memon, Suresh Sahu, and Nitish Kumar, were dead. Their bodies lay in grotesque positions, marks around their necks suggesting violent strangulation. One corpse had a lemon still lodged in the mouth, that sacred fruit now, a grim marker of the tragedy. Scratches covered their skin, signs of desperate struggle. Their eyes were wide open, frozen in the final moments of realization. They were not multiplying their wealth, they were losing their lives. Panic erupted. Companions rushed the bodies to a local hospital, but doctors could only declare them brought in dead. The initial assessment pointed to asphyxiation strangulation via rope, but questions immediately surfaced. Was this murder? A ritual gone catastrophically wrong? Or something more sinister, premeditated trap disguised as supernatural salvation? When Korba police arrived at the farmhouse, they discovered a macabre tableau: incense sticks burned to ash, lemons scattered across the floor, ropes coiled like serpents. Puja items, ritualistic objects, arranged in patterns suggesting an elaborate occult ceremony. And cash. 5 lakh rupees in notes, placed exactly as promised, as if the money itself was part of the ritual's machinery. For police, the evidence painted a disturbing picture. This was no accidental death. This was calculated, planned, executed with precision. But who orchestrated this? Rajendra Kumar, the tantric, immediately fled. Police launched a manhunt. Within days, he and 5 associates were apprehended. Among them, other ritualists, accomplices who lured victims, perhaps even family members complicit in the scheme. Interrogations began. Stories emerged, fragmented, contradictory, chilling. According to police revelations, this money ritual was no isolated incident. It was part of a larger, organized operation. Men like Rajendra Kumar had been running this scam across multiple states, targeting desperate businessmen using the tantalizing promise of instant wealth as bait. The motive police determined was straightforward yet diabolical: theft. The victims were murdered not for supernatural reasons, but for the 5 lakh rupees they brought. Once dead, no one could claim the money back. The ritual was theater elaborate, convincing theater designed to keep victims compliant, trusting, willing to enter sealed rooms and submit to whatever was demanded. The rope, ostensibly a ritual boundary, became a murder weapon. The lemon, a sacred object, became a calling card of death. What makes this case even more haunting is its backdrop. Chhattisgarh, despite modern infrastructure and education, remains deeply entangled with superstition. Between 2005 and 2017, nearly 1,350 cases related to witchcraft and superstition were registered in the state, the highest in India. From January 2020 to June 2024 alone, 54 murders linked to superstition were reported. Over 200 incidents of superstition-related violence occur annually. The Chhattisgarh Witchcraft Atrocities Prevention Act exists, yet continues to be violated. The victims' families faced a unique devastation. Ashraf Memmon's relatives had to accept that their patriarch died not to violence, but to his own greed exploited by predators who understood human psychology perfectly. Suresh Sahu's family grappled with the knowledge that he'd been willing to risk everything for a shortcut. Nitish Kumar's loved ones confronted a terrible truth, that desperate hope can be more dangerous than realistic despair. And the ritual itself, the Jodin, became infamous. Online communities began discussing it, analyzing it, warning against it. Yet for every person warned, another remained susceptible, because desperation is universal. Financial struggle is universal. The desire to escape hardship through extraordinary means, that hunger never dies. Even after the Korba case made international headlines, even after 6 arrests and criminal proceedings, other tantrics continued practicing similar rituals in hidden locations, finding new victims, collecting new 5 lakh rupees, repeating the cycle of deception and death. As months passed and the trial proceeded, deeper questions emerged. How many other victims were there? How many similar cases went unreported because families couldn't admit their loved ones died through gullibility? How many tantrics remained free, still running operations? Police investigations revealed connections to other unsolved deaths cases, where family members suddenly died under mysterious circumstances during rituals, only for property disputes or debts to mysteriously vanish afterward. The farmhouse in Kudri village stands empty now, avoided by locals who sense lingering sorrow in its walls. Investigators found Rajendra Kumar's notebooks detailed records of victims, amounts collected, planned rituals. The cold bureaucracy of murder. Each entry represented a human being, a family destroyed, a future erased. On December 13, 2025, just 3 days after the bodies were found, police announced they had cracked the case. 6 arrests. Confessions. The narrative solidified. Premeditated triple murder disguised as supernatural ritual. Ashraf Mamain, Suresh Sahu, and Nitish Kumar died not because the ritual failed, but because the ritual was the murder weapon itself. The lemons in their mouths weren't sacred fruits, they were signatures. The ropes around their necks weren't spiritual boundaries, they were execution devices. Yet even with closure, the case lingers as a haunting reminder. In a world where superstition still grips millions, where the line between belief and exploitation remains razor-thin, tragedy waits in farmhouses and sealed rooms. 3 men entered seeking multiplication of wealth, found instead the multiplication of suffering across their families, their communities, their legacies. The 5 rupees lakh sat on that farmhouse floor, untouched, recovered by police, a monument to greed, a memorial to naivety, a warning unheeded by countless others still seeking shortcuts to fortune. And somewhere, in the shadows of Chhattisgarh's industrial heartland, another tantric whispers to another desperate soul, "Bring me money, let me perform a ritual, your wealth will multiply." And somewhere else, another family prepares to be destroyed by the oldest con in history, the promise of the impossible,